Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining our open house this morning or this afternoon, depending where you live. I am Ludo Farage. I am the CEO of Nucamp. And with me today, Zandra is joining. Zandra is a Nucamp advisor and instructor. Hello, Zandra.
Hey, Ludo. Good to see you.
All right. So this is our monthly open house. And if you've watched one of those, you should know that we're going to spend the first 30 minutes or so introducing you to Nucamp, our coding bootcamps, what students can expect from an experience standpoint, etc. And so I will be speaking, then Zandra will be speaking. And then for the last 30 minutes, we will pretty much have a live Q&A. So ask your questions here on YouTube. My screen in front of me shows me questions from Jenny, Ashar, Derek, Osman. So ask your questions on YouTube or actually also on Facebook, where we are streaming live as well. And we'll get to those questions in about 30 minutes now. So without any further ado, let's actually start the conversation. Very first question, obviously, is what is Nucamp? And so if you want to think about, in three, what are the three main points that we want you to get away with when you think about our company is we are primarily driven by a social mission. And that social mission is to really bring coding education to any aspiring developer in the US. And when we say any and everywhere, we mean any and everywhere in the US. And we'll actually get into the details of what that means. And we do that by being the most affordable coding bootcamp out there. And in a way, our level of tuition is actually kind of incredible and triggers people thoughts around, okay, is that real? How can it be possible? And so we are actually going to go into the details of how we make that low tuition possible and show you that it's not just a trick, it's real. And the quality of what we offer actually doesn't suffer at all from that low tuition. And quite the contrary, you'll see via the students' feedback that our level of quality and impact and how we are actually able to help you out is pretty fantastic, actually. And you should know that we are actually at this point in time close to being the number 2 coding bootcamp in the US based on number of reviews, based on review score, based on number of graduates, and based on number of people who are employed. So yeah, this is not a fad, this is for real. And we'll get into the details of that. Okay, so how do you think about Nucamp comparatively to other coding bootcamp? Most of you are probably in the middle of your search and you're evaluating multiple options and you're wondering, okay, how does that fit? How should I think about Nucamp versus, I don't know, Coding Dojo, or Flatiron, or Thinkful, or Springboard? I mean, there's a ton out there. And also, how should I think about Nucamp versus Udemy, and Udacity and Coursera, for example? So in the world of learning to code, there's a plethora of options online. The online coding bootcamps, and there's a ton of great things to be said about those online coding bootcamps. The very first one is it's super flexible and accessible. You can start to learn online from anywhere, from your house. All you need is an internet connection. You don't need to live in a big city, which is great. The second thing, of course, that is really commendable about online coding bootcamps is the price point. If you think just about Udemy, I mean, you can buy a course for like $10. And so that price point is very exciting for aspiring developers who are looking to start to learn to code and get into a career. The challenge of those options is very few people are actually able to accomplish their goals just following that path. There's a ton of research that shows that only 3% of students who are starting to learn to code online actually make it, actually complete their journey. And we're actually seeing a ton of students coming to us and joining Nucamp who have tried that path before and are really joining because they realize that they need more. They need support. They need a structure. They need to learn with others. So that's for online coding bootcamps. And then on the other end of the spectrum are what I would say the more traditional coding bootcamps. And what I mean by traditional is they actually follow a very traditional education model, which is they have a campus where you go, from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. sometime. They have full-time instructors or professors. You have to quit your job to actually get there. And then you have to actually pay a significant tuition fee, from $10,000 to $15,000. Some actually more expensive than that. The great thing about those coding schools is they really offer an immersive experience. And that immersive experience is really great. It's very engrossing if you can actually afford it. And that's the big point about those traditional coding bootcamps. You have to be able to afford doing those. You have to be able to quit your job if you already have one. You have to be able to afford to pay the tuition if you have one. You have to trust the coding school as well. Like if you're considering an ISA, for example, you have to trust that the ISA you're going to sign is going to be actually a good one. There's a ton of bad ISAs out there. And we actually talked about that in our website. You have to be willing to pay maybe up to $40,000 for that experience and that coding education, which is not nothing. And then the big problem as well and challenge with those coding schools right now, given COVID, is if you were enjoying the prospect of that full-time immersive in-person experience, well, with COVID, you probably are not going to get it. And so now you're looking at yet another online experience with all the constraints that I talked about, because you're still asked to quit your job, do it full time. You're still asked to pay the same amount of money or not more. And for most people, that's a challenge. So where do we fit? Well, we fit right in the middle. We've designed Nucamp to take pretty much the best of both worlds. We want to be affordable, and we are affordable and available to anyone across the US, no matter where you live. We want to be at a price point that will really allow you to invest in your education without getting into debt. And then we are part-time, but part-time with a structure, part-time by still being part of a classroom with 12 students. And so that level of structure really allows us to graduate 78% of our students, which is a fantastic graduation rate, considering you are online and part-time. And so, less than $2,000, you can get a 22 weeks education and then get a job in the industry. Okay, what's our history? We were founded in 2017 in the state of Washington. We started in Tacoma, Washington, which is 20 miles south of Seattle, where there were no coding bootcamps, and we are still the only coding bootcamp there. And that's kind of our brand. That's what we do. We go into the places that are not covered. And of course, we're in the big cities as well, but we are pretty much everywhere. And wherever you live, you're likely to be 15 to 20 miles away from one of our locations. We've served 4,000 unique students, 1,000 bootcamps have been launched ever since we were founded. We rely on a network of 250 to 300 instructors, and at any time, we have approximately 100 that are teaching with us. And we are delivering our workshops, which is kind of the marquee experience that we deliver on Saturday mornings for our students. We deliver approximately 90 workshops every Saturday, and those workshops are from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. And our satisfactions, as I mentioned, we went up in terms of reviews ever since we created that slide. But you can check us out on Course Report. We are the #1 coding bootcamp rated on Career Karma as well from graduates. So there's a ton of different reviews on Career Karma. The ones from graduates, we have the most of those.
Woohoo!
Yes, thank you, Zandra. So COVID-19 kind of upended our plans a little. We have a Saturday workshop experience. That's an in-person experience. And before COVID hit, We were able to deliver it in 35 cities in the US. Ever since that change, obviously, we have those workshop experiences on online using Zoom, but everything else remains the same. So you're very much still in a classroom with maximum 12 students. You get to know your fellow students. You get to create bonds and ties with them. You collaborate with them. You have a part-time instructor that's there to help you during the week and also on that Saturday session. So very different from having, one mentor assigned to you that's checking on you once a week. You don't feel alone in that experience at all. You feel like you're part of something, a social learning experience, and a very supportive structure of people really doing exactly what you're doing at the time you're doing it. All right, so we have 3 bootcamps tailored to your level. We have a 4 weeks introduction bootcamp covering the fundamentals of HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. We recommend that bootcamp to anyone who's a true beginner and want to check out if they like coding, if Nucamp is for them. And then we have our more advanced bootcamps, and Zandra will go into the details. The first one is the front-end web and mobile development. It's $343 a month for 4 months. Total tuition there for 17 weeks is $1,372. And we have the Fullstack bootcamp, which is pretty much taking the front end and adding an additional module to it. $353 a month for 5 months for a total tuition of $1,765. And as I said, Zandra will actually go into the details of that. We are changing our pricing next year. Now, it's not going to be a revolution, not at all. As you can see here, we're actually keeping the web development fundamentals bootcamp at the same level of price. We're slightly increasing front-end and full stack by $23 a month for 4 or 5 months. So it's like roughly $100 or $130 more compared to this year. But it's still a good enough reason, I will say, to register for the upcoming one, December 7th, that still has the 2020 pricing. If you register for the later ones, I think it's January 11th, you'll be paying the 2021 pricing. So those prices here. Again, not a major difference, but if you were on the fence, now is better given the savings here. Okay, in terms of experience, it is at this point in time a fully online experience. In the past and before COVID, the Saturday session was in person, and we'll get back to that soon, I hope. But what happens is during the week from Sunday to Friday, you are given pretty much very strict guidance as to what you should be learning every day. It's a series of videos, exercises, code challenges, code reviews, assignment reviews from your instructor from past week. And you do that at your own pace. So there is no set times during the week for you to attend. And we do that because we know whenever there's a set time to attend during the week, that's a challenge for many students who can't just attend at that point in time. And so during the week, it's very much on your own schedule, but we do expect you to spend anywhere between 2 to 4 hours every day learning through the curriculum. Then on Saturday, we have that set time at that point in time, 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. It's always 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. In your time zone. So it's going to be 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. Eastern time, 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. Pacific time. Since we're online, you could decide if you're, if you live on the East Coast to register for Pacific time, and that will actually adjust the time of that Saturday session. So you have some flexibility here. But this is where really the week's worth of learning really achieve its momentum, and you're going to work on what we call a capstone assignment with your classmates and with your instructor. And that assignment is really going to wrap this week's worth of learning. And then we're going to do a rinse and repeat pretty much. So next week, you're going to go through the same motions, and that's going to end up on the Saturday workshop as well. Those Saturday workshops are graded by your instructor, and you need a minimum of 6 out of 10 to pass that assignment. Okay, those are the places where we used to enjoy hanging out on Saturdays. We're hoping to get back to that very quickly. As I mentioned, we used to do that in 35 US cities. We're going to be ready to expand way beyond that when we're back into the normal experience, I will say. The Nucamp structures are really our secret sauce. Those people that you're seeing on that slide, and 300 of them, have joined Nucamp because they care, because they are passionate about giving back to their communities. We obviously compensate them, but we say that they're not doing it for the money. They are actually full-time employed somewhere else. They are still practitioners practicing web development in their respective companies, and be it a startup, be it their own company as freelance, being a big, Fortune 500, or maybe a small business locally. And so those people really are taking time out of their schedule, do that, just like you in a way, part-time, because they want to help, because they want to share their passion with you. They're going to bring you a huge amount of insights into the industry where you live. So we're going to actually match you with someone from your region, or again, once it's not COVID, actually locally in your city. But they're really going to be your mentor, your helper to get a sense of what it means to get a job in this industry where you live and how you go about that. All right, so this was the portion that I wanted to cover with you. I'm gonna ask Zandra to pick it up from here, and then I will get back to you and with Zandra in about 15 to 20 minutes to answer your questions online. Zandra?
Thanks, Ludo. Yeah, I see a lot of good questions in the chat, so keep them coming. We will get to them. JavaScript, we see on this slide here, JavaScript #1 development language, 5 years in a row. That's going to be key to anyone who wants to become a web developer. 2020, 2021, we don't see this trend changing anytime soon. No matter what language you go on to specialize in, you're going to need JavaScript if you're doing anything web related. So our web development fundamentals course is going to be great for you there to give you that foundation. The average salaries that we see for junior web developers across the country, we can say $70,000. And it depends, it fluctuates based on where you live, what metro area you're in, or what area you're close to. You will also go either up or down based on whether you have a background in the industry already. Like maybe you're an accountant and you study with Nucamp, then you apply for a web dev job at a major accounting firm. They will take that all into account, and your skills will be, certain value to them based on where you're already coming from. So we have blog articles about this. You can read more about that on our blog. So how are you going to learn at Nucamp? What's the content that you're going to go through? You're going to go through your fundamentals class with us if you are just a beginner joining us. If you are a complete beginner with no knowledge of coding, definitely sign up for our web fundamentals course. And that's going to take you through HTML, CSS, JavaScript, and you're going to have a lot of fun. You're going to build little games. You're going to be coding. HTML is kind of like the bones or the frame of your house, like your sheetrock and your 2x4s and your foundation. Then CSS is kind of like the carpet, the drapes, the sofas, the colors, the decorations. JavaScript is like the electricity and the plumbing. Nobody wants to live in your house if you've got no plumbing, no electricity. Nobody's going to want to come to your page if you ain't got no JavaScript, kind of, to make a rough analogy. So after 4 weeks of that, you'll have what you need to join one of the main boot camps. Now, Ludo already brought out the difference between the two courses a little bit. The Fullstack course includes the front-end course content. A lot of students I've spoken to ask, on the phone, what is the difference between the full stack and the front end? We do also have blog posts about that, but just a brief analogy again. Let's say you have a light switch, and your light switch is it's shaped like a seashell. It's a light switch in your bathroom. And you designed that and you painted little ocean things on it. The inside, where the wires are that connect the switch to the house, that's the back end. The front, the beautiful little seashell and the paint and everything, that's the front end. Full stack is someone who can design the light switch and wire it up, just to put a rough analogy. And the first part of the main boot camps is Bootstrap. A Bootstrap is kind of like a shorthand, or it's a framework of CSS for decorating your page or styling your page, as you would say, cascading style sheets. So that is it's going to help you a lot, and it's going to improve your JavaScript a lot. Also, the Bootstrap course. Then you'll move into the React course. React is a framework that's going to help your page to be more dynamic. So with Bootstrap, you get the responsive pages, so your page will automatically resize itself for the device that it's being displayed on, but it's static. It doesn't really do anything. React, now you're going to have responsive, and you're going to have a dynamic page that actually changes based on how the user interacts with it. It's actually serving up different pages. And then you're going to move into React Native, which is a framework for building mobile apps. So you'll be able to build an app that will go into the App Store or the Play Store. You can also do Windows apps, I believe, with React Native. You'll be able to put a really solid skill on your resume when you've done the React Native course and you've graduated from front end. And if you go on to full stack with us, you will learn the server side. You'll go deeper into Node.js, which you already have a little introduction to, but you'll go a little bit more in depth. You'll use Express to kind of tie your app together a little bit on making your user profiles and that kind of thing. And you use MongoDB to store your data and connect your database to your apps. And you'll be able to then call yourself a full stack developer when you've graduated from there. And let's see, to segue into that, we see some who have completed those courses, some who have done the full stack and the front end, and these are some projects they've made. So Ludo, can you show us some of those projects from our YouTube?
Yeah, absolutely. So we get students, graduates actually, to share their projects with us, and it's always amazing actually to see the level of creativity and I would say almost artistry sometimes that they showcase. So let me, I had one open, there we go. So if you go to our channel on YouTube, and if you're on YouTube already, you probably have seen it there. You can go to our playlists. And here you're going to find student projects. We add new projects every 5 weeks. Let me pick one that I thought was pretty impressive. I'm looking for one where, actually, let's see. You know what? I should have looked it up before. Oh, the Pokemon game is pretty cool. Let me see. Oh, this one is amazing. Okay, let's go with the panoramic HR.
I like that one.
So the story behind that video, we showed it during the graduation party, and everyone was suggesting that this student create its own startup, and they actually wanted to join for free. That good.
We've got React Transition Group in there for animations, as well as React Router.
I'm not going to show everything, but
my app schema, I had a couple of nested components here that I wanted to be able to update state And of course,
So we're
to
talking about
base
states in
exploit,
React.
when we get to that,
I want you to see
review
how
an employee
slick the
info
experience
screen here that
is.
shows us past reviews, as well as scores for each of their performance areas that we're tracking, as well as a qualitative statement that kind of just sums up where they're at as far as performance goes. We have a employee roster here.
All right, so
allows us
that's
to
one
delete
project. As I
employees.
mentioned, you can see a ton more online. I was looking for the checker. There's a chess one. Oh, there you go. That one
Hello, my
was
name is
really
Brandon, and this is
amazing.
a continuation of my chess project,
Where
lesson database. We can see users.
a student
Here's
actually
the fusion I
built
just made.
an actual chess game where you have two players
and notice this
able to connect with one another online. So he's using backend technology, sockets to connect those players, and actually he's able to, have those two players play the moves. So let me actually show you those moves. There we go. So,
and this will allow me to see any moves that are made here. So as this board updates, anyone at the table is able to see those changes through socket.io.
pretty impressive stuff. Anyway, we have plenty of those online. You can check them out. I really encourage you to do that. It's going to give you a good idea of what students are able to actually create at the end of our bootcamps. Back to you now, Zandra.
Yeah, thanks, Ludo. And don't be intimidated by those screens. When you go on our channel and you watch those student videos, you'll see, wow, look at their code editor, so complex, so complicated. But that's going to be your code editor in a matter of weeks and months. So that's going to be you. So next is, how can that be you? Our schedule. Check out our bootcamp schedule. This is just a mock-up here for the slide, but your city may look slightly different from this schedule. And you'll see if the bootcamp's full, don't panic. Just check out the next one that's starting up. They start on a cycle, regular scheduled 5 weeks. And you should register in your city. If we do go back to the in-person while you're with us as a student, you're going to want to be able to join your class locally, meet your instructor and your classmates. And also, even if we don't go back to in-person while you're with us, you'll still be benefited by joining in your city or your region at least, because you'll have a relationship with your classmates who are going to be getting jobs, who are going to be networking. Your instructor is going to be in your area networking, letting you know what's available. So the next early bird deadline that's coming up in a few days, this Monday. So put a reminder in your phone, an alert or something, if you're trying to get on that next class so you don't miss it. Thanks, Ludo. So scholarships, a lot of you have asked me about scholarships, and thanks for emailing me. And I always send you to this page, nucamp.co/scholarships. We have a new one. If you're a veteran like me, you qualify to apply for the veteran scholarships. You'll have to show your proof of service. And I know veterans have a lot of options out there in terms of boot camps. This is just another one that we're able to give to you. Also, we have the Career Karma Reskill America laptop challenge, which it's still going on. So definitely take a look at our scholarships page, click on Learn More, and see the details about that one. It's all laid out for you step by step what you need to do to apply. Then we have for the spring, our high school grads. A lot of you are looking, oh, what am I going to do? I don't want to, take out huge student loans, but I still want to do something interesting in my career. Or you're, waiting for college, taking a gap year, but you're not going to backpack across Europe. You can still do something fun and interesting. So check out that if you're a high school graduate, or share it with the high school grads that you may know. Right, and back over to you then, Ludo.
Yeah, so many of you have been asking about, okay, how do you help me find a job in the industry? How do you support my transition from a career standpoint? And so we're very pleased to announce, and we've been publishing those numbers now for a couple of weeks, that our employment rate right now stands at 78% after 3 months, which is quite impressive. And it's also a very transparent and truthful number that we are sharing right here. We are updating those numbers every 5 weeks. So every 5 weeks, we get survey responses from our graduates. And so we have a automatic method of compiling that data and refreshing the data right here. You'll see that some bootcamps showcase data points that are 2 years old, for example, and still use that in the advertising or messaging on the website. Or data points are refreshed really every 5 weeks. And then on graduation rate, that's very, very critical for you. No matter where you go at the end of the day, Nucamp or another coding bootcamp, but I strongly, strongly encourage you to check the graduation rate. Ours is 75% because we really adapt our offering to working professionals or people who are part-time. And so you can pause, you can retake, you can finish in 4 months or you can finish in 5 months if you need to. And as a result, our completion rate is 75%. Some bootcamps out there have a completion rate of 20%. You should really look into that and making sure that you're joining a bootcamp that has a very high completion rate. Because what's happening is students join because maybe it's attractive from an ISA standpoint. They join because it's attractive from a total cost standpoint or other things. And then 2 weeks, 3 weeks down the line, they realize that's not exactly what they were hoping for, and they withdraw. Or even worse, they don't realize that the school has regulations or rules in place that make it very hard actually to stay enrolled. Like some school, they have like if you're late 10 minutes twice in a row during a month, you're out. And so that really decreases significantly the graduation rate. So check that out. I really encourage you to check that number. It's a critical number that the industry at large is not talking about enough. And then what do we offer? Well, once you graduated with us, you are assigned a career coach one-on-one. You will have an opportunity to meet via Zoom for 30 minutes once a week with your career coach to go over everything that matters, your resume, your LinkedIn profile, preparing you for an interview. So you pick a topic, and then for 30 minutes, you have a conversation with your coach. You can participate in week-long hackathons. Super important to continue to code, continue to be active after you graduate. You are enrolled automatically in a 6-week career development program. That's going to really help you with everything, all the soft skills, how to think about networking, how to think about, talking about yourself, how to engage people in a conversation around technology and things like that. We have an exclusive job board for alumni. What that means is we are reaching out to thousands of companies every month, asking them to post on their own job board. And why does it matter? Because the companies that do that, they are signaling already that they have an interesting job for a junior web developer, and they are open to hire graduates from Nucamp. So those jobs, there's pretty much a 100% chance of a graduate being hired. And actually, it's been the case like pretty much all the time. Whenever we have a company that's posting on a board, there's a 100% chance of a graduate to be hired. Now, of course, we need to have more of those jobs. And so we're working on that. But that's very, very interesting to hear. I'm sure that we have kind of that funnel in place for graduates. You're going to have a LinkedIn Premium and LinkedIn Learning membership to be put on the top of the pile, I will say, of recruiters. And then something we don't stress enough is you have lifetime access to everything. You have lifetime access to our Slack community, lifetime access to the bootcamp content. And that's actually, that resonates a lot with our alumni. All right, that's actually the end of our 30 minutes. We spent actually 35 minutes this time around. And what we're going to do now, we're going to just stop sharing the slide, and Zendra and myself are going to be starting to answer your questions. So Zendra, do you see one right now that you like to tackle, either on YouTube or on Facebook?
Yeah, on YouTube, I saw about someone was asking about, should I join Jenny Esther? Can you go directly into the full stack course after the intro course? And yes, you can. Right at the web development fundamentals is designed to prepare you to join the front end or the full stack. So the answer, Jenny, is yes. So please go ahead and jump in.
Right. And so Angela is asking, hey, if I don't have any knowledge, what is the best way to learn to code, or which bootcamp is better fit? Two answers to that. I will encourage you to try one of those online options first, one of those tutorials, because you want to check that it's actually something you want to do. So if you haven't done that already, go out there, buy a $10 Udemy course on HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, and see, do you like it? Is that something that's intriguing to you, interesting to you? Do you feel like you can actually complete that course, maybe complete half of it and enjoy that? So check that really this is something you want to invest more by just, buying a $10 course or doing a free tutorial.
Yeah,
and then after that, then after that, you can enroll in our 4 weeks introduction bootcamp. That's going to give you all the structure that you will get otherwise in our front end and full stack bootcamp. That's not going to give you enough knowledge to get a job, but enough knowledge certainly to transition into that full stack or front end bootcamp, just like Zendra said earlier.
All right, and I see one also from G-Triple-D. Do I have to take full stack right after intro, or can I wait a couple months after the intro? No, you don't have to. I recommend that you don't lose momentum by having too much of a gap between your fundamentals class and your full stack class. Some people feel like, oh, I gotta practice more. I gotta get more handle on JavaScript before I move on to the full stack. I don't feel confident. But remember how you felt before you signed up for the fundamentals. You didn't feel confident. You didn't feel 100% secure in that, but yet you were still able to accomplish the fundamentals. And you're going to find the same thing after the fundamentals course. You're still not going to feel 100% ready, but it's kind of a psychological thing. And also the course is designed to ease you into JavaScript. So the next class will be Bootstrap, and you'll feel more comfortable with CSS gradually. And then you'll add on a little bit more JavaScript as you go.
Yeah, that's right. Taylor, you're asking about waiving the fee for those that are doing it, starting HTML now and then moving into full stack in January. I'm afraid that's not going to be possible. I mean, those prices are set for everyone. But as I mentioned, the difference in price is very minimal. So I hope it won't be too much of an issue. I'll take the next one from Crispin, who's asking about, you're learning. So Crispin apparently is learning HTML, CSS, and JavaScript online, fully online. Perfect. That's also a great alternative to joining our course. And then you're wondering, okay, is that going to be enough to get into full stack right after that? And so we have actually a very simple answer. We offer you to take a test. So if you go to our full stack page, or if you're trying to register for full stack, you'll be offered to take a test. It's a 25 questions test. It's actually one from W3 school, I believe. And you want to be scoring 85% good answers or more. If your score is below that, that means you may not be fully ready to start with the full stack. And so you will want to spend more time, especially on JavaScript. And so you can do that by joining our 4 weeks bootcamp.
Okay, thanks. I want to shout out to Musa on Facebook. We are looking forward to seeing you in our Slack. So give us a shout out when you get in there. And also, let's see, I had another one. Hello to Osman, it's our instructor coming up. Thank you very much for joining us. And let's see, difference between web developer and software engineer, HC on YouTube. So when I hear web developer, I think someone who's building for the web, building web apps. When I hear software engineer, I think someone who's building, Red Hat Linux, like someone who's building a complex application, maybe for desktop or something. I'm not sure if I'm in the right. It even gets confusing for us sometimes. And then a lot of HR people, they don't always know. So they put software engineer, but really they mean web developer when they do the job posting. So I can see how it could be confusing for people.
I'm going to answer Adrian's contact question about, okay, is the bootcamp instructor led or is it solo learning with support if needed with the Saturday meetup? So your instructor is assigned to you and your classroom for the duration of the 5 weeks. That instructor is going to be available to you during the week. So if you ping him or her directly, that instructor is going to answer you. But there is no set time. So it's you reach out and then you have a conversation. You'll see that the community at large as well is super responsive and helps one another. So you may actually get an answer from an instructor who's not your dedicated instructor. That's different on Saturday mornings. On Saturday mornings, it's really your instructor, you, and 12 other students that are in your classroom. So that's dedicated time, 12 students maximum, where your instructor is really working with you, helping you out with your assignment. So think of it as a very traditional, in a way, classroom setup, right? Part-time during the week, but you still have your instructor, and then synchronous time on Saturday mornings from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m.
Okay. And also shout out to Riley Japes. I think he said he lives in Tacoma. Hey.
Oh, yeah.
The progressive mind with Larry Krakow. No, the fundamentals course is not included in Fullstack. It's not Fullstack as in encompassing all of our offerings. It's Fullstack as in front end and back end. So fundamentals is separate.
Yeah. Great question from HC. What do you notice about the 25% who do not graduate? And can I make sure I'm not in that group? Most of the people who are not graduating are realizing that it's not for them or it's not the right time early on. And so typically, if you've been able to realize that you like what you're learning, you like really the skill and being a web developer, you're going to realize that in the first 5 weeks. So if you go past the first 5 weeks, there's a much greater chance that you're going to make it through and graduate. The next milestone, I will say, is React. React in itself is challenging, and it's really going to test your nerves, test your ability to troubleshoot, find bugs, fix bugs. And again, if you're able to pass through that, again, you're going to have a much higher chance of graduating. And I would say, actually, I don't know what the math are and the data, but we should actually look into that. But a huge percentage of students who make it past React graduate. I'll say we'll have probably very little people who actually drop out after that. And then there's the other option, the other scenario of, it's a 22 weeks long bootcamp and it's a part-time bootcamp, and many students keep their jobs and do not quit their job while doing it. And at some point in time, they're stuck because life happens. And we are very much supportive and aware of that. And so we're seeing people saying, hey, I just can't continue to commit to that. We have a very fair refund policy that's actually dictated by state law. And so it's pretty much a percentage of what you've consumed in the course. But I would say most of the time, those people really, it's just that life dictates that they cannot continue to stay committed to that experience. And so they need to withdraw. But as I said, 75% of completion rate is fantastic. And again, wherever you go, ask for that number or look it up online. Sometimes it's shared online. And as I said, some bootcamps have a 20% completion rate, and you don't want to go there. Okay.
So we see on Facebook, we had a question from Jason, I believe, about job placement. So Jason, yes, we have agreements, as Ludo was speaking about, with some companies that want to hire our graduates, and they serve us up their fresh, steaming hot job postings first, so we get first crack at them, and there's 100% chance that your Nucamp grad is going to be taking that job, as Ludo was saying. So we also offer, a lot of skills that Ludo mentioned on our nucamp.co/career services page. So definitely go to that link and check it out.
All right, so I'm gonna answer. I saw the question here. Where is it now? Oh yeah, someone wants to go. Oh, there you go. Robert Roman wants to finish the course faster than 22 weeks. And can I actually do the course full time instead of part time? So the answer, unfortunately, is no, because the whole course or bootcamp experience is built around the classroom experience, collaboration with other students, and really creating that social learning experience that is going to make sure that you're going to stay committed, that you're going to receive the help you need when you need it. So every student has to go at the same pace in order to accomplish that. If we had students going at different paces, it would be very hard to actually create that cohesive experience or support experience. And so for that reason, you can't actually go faster than the pace that is suggested. And that's also why we have 78% completion rate, because we do offer that structure in the end.
Okay. And Junelin C on YouTube, which course should I join, beginner or advanced? We kind of touched on that. If you don't know anything about HTML, definitely join the beginner fundamentals class. If you can declare variables in JavaScript, but you can't write a for loop, join the fundamentals class. If you can write a for loop and take our quiz that we have the link to in the FAQ page, or the W3 Schools quiz in our frequently asked questions page. There's a link there. And I saw a potential instructor was asking, what are the next steps? I think it was D something on YouTube. Go to our homepage and click on the footer. There's a hiring link in the footer.
Great. There's some conversations around which code editor are we using. Edward, I think I saw O'Neill, Hazard as well. So we are using VS Visual Studio Code as the main editor for the whole bootcamp. So it's one of the best indeed. I'd like to address actually Andresito Perez, a current student of ours enrolled in the 4 weeks bootcamp on Facebook. Andresito, first, thank you for taking the time to share your feedback. I mean, that's one of the things that students and instructors really appreciate is we take every feedback and continuously improve on the experience. So Andresito feedback here is a mixed, like he likes the experience, but he had a somewhat mixed experience with the teacher who seemed to be shy. We ask students to rate both the content and the instructor on a weekly basis. So every week we look at, do you like the content, the experience, and do you like the teacher? We ask instructors to always keep a minimum of 4.2 rating out of 5 to continue to teach with us. Right now, our average for the past 5 weeks for instructors, and I looked it up a while ago, is around 4.62. It's a huge score. It's a brilliant score, but it does mean that some instructors may actually get a 4.2, 4.3, maybe 4.0. We coach those instructors to be better instructors with us. And it does happen sometimes, although it's rare, that we swap an instructor, maybe sometimes after the first week of teaching with us. And so often that instructor is new, we just hire that person, and we realize it's not going to work. So, I mean, it's everything that we do is meant to make sure that your experience is going to be great. The reviews you're seeing online on those websites, we don't tell students what to write. We don't pay students what to write. They are all very genuine reviews, including that one from Andresito, which I really, again, appreciate.
Yeah, thanks for sharing that. That's really good. Yeah, sometimes you need to be a little more cheerful. We get down too. Instructors have bad days too. But thanks for sharing that. Also, Allison, as a beginner starting off on Facebook, you said, Allison Augustus should, let's see, it will be difficult kicking off the class self-paced online versus attending the workshop right away. The class I want to register starts on Monday. I am not quite sure. I think you should see what feels right for you. Like Ludo said earlier to another student, try taking a Udemy class first. Try looking at YouTube videos, look at basic videos about HTML, CSS. There's a lot of free content out there as well. And see if you are engaging with the content, with the material, if it's striking something in you, if you feel like, oh, I could do this. If you don't feel that way, then maybe it's not right for you. Our classes are self-paced during the week, but you do have an instructor standing by to help you. That's the difference between those other fully online options.
Yeah, thank you, Zandra, for that. Adrian, you're looking for the refund policy. So let me actually kind of break it down for you. First, it's actually dictated by state education boards. So it's not our refund policy, it's the state policy. You'll find it in the contract when you register, or you can also find it online in our FAQ. Typically, it goes like that. You're going to be refunded a percentage of the tuition based on how much you've stayed in the course. So if you've stayed less than 25% in the bootcamp, you're going to be refunded 75%. If you stayed less than 50% in the bootcamp, you're going to be refunded 50%. Anything above 50%, you're not going to receive a refund. And that's kind of traditional and typical in the coding bootcamp industry, I would say. There is some variation by state. So depending on which state you live in, you may actually find a different refund policy, but it's very typically like that. It's really a percentage refund based on how much you've stayed in the bootcamp, which overall is kind of fair. I see another question from David Young, which is a cool question, which is also why we are doing those open houses in the first place. How is it possible that Nucamp is only 15% and 20% of the cost? It's possible because when we created or started Nucamp 4 years ago, we actually built the whole business model around the premise of being the most affordable coding bootcamp. And starting with that in mind, forced several trade-offs. The very first one is we could not afford to rent campuses in every city where we will be. That will be too expensive, too much of a fixed cost. And so we do not have rent or campuses in the cities where we are. We partner with co-working spaces who are giving us a membership for our instructors to teach there. The other thing is it can't really work full-time because a full-time program requires full-time instructors. And again, that's too much of a fixed cost. And so our programs have to be part-time because we leverage a community of instructors who are also part-time and that we can hire on demand based on the number of bootcamps that we're going to deliver. It's also hugely based on thinking about once you only charge people $2,000, you actually don't need a salespeople that you're going to pay a sales referral. So you'll probably notice that we don't call you, you call us. We send you emails, and if you're interested, you have to reach out to us. So we don't have salespeople that are going to nag you and really try to get you to spend the $15,000. That's another area where we actually can cut cost. We don't have admission. Like we don't pay people to just look at your profile and see if you're going to make it. We kind of trust your judgment. We give you all the tools to make your own decision, but we're going to trust your judgment. And if you want to join, and I saw a question here, how do you join? You go online, you click register, you put your credit card in, and you're in. And there's a ton of additional things that I could go about, but it's very much starting with that goal in mind to offer the most affordable bootcamp that has really created a series of decisions and trade-offs in our business model that finally makes it possible.
Okay, thanks. That was really nice. I'm glad you tackled that question. That was your meat and potatoes there. So June on YouTube, no, only Saturday for now for workshops. So if you can rejiggle your schedule with your boss or your work commitments, that's best because we don't record the workshops. And let's see, Astro on YouTube. We don't have any blockchain related courses, but all of these cryptocurrency portals like, Coinbase and Bitflyer or whatever, they have websites. They need web developers. So go to those companies' career pages from now and look at their web development job postings, look what tools they're using, write them down, and then learn that on the side while you're in Nucamp. And they have a lot of cryptocurrency APIs that you can learn how to integrate as well on the website. Nuno David on YouTube, you could just register. You're asking how to join. You can just go ahead and register for the class that suits your needs. We don't have any kind of gatekeeping. We don't have any kind of profiling we do to see if you're going to be a risky candidate for our school, because we don't have ISAs. Anyone can register for Nucamp.
Yeah, I'm going to tackle two questions here that really goes about the flexibility that we offer. So the very first one is from HC regarding moving between states. So given that we are online right now, moving cities, moving states is not going to change your experience or your group, but we could actually move you to a different group, meaning if you're on the East Coast and you're attending Saturday, 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. East Coast time, and you're moving to the Pacific, the West Coast, then we could transition you to a West Coast cohort so that your 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. is still West Coast time or still 9 a.m., 1 p.m. So we could, but we don't have to. It's really depending on what you want to do. The other point is when we are in person, when we are city-based again, we are also able to kind of bring your registration to another city so that you're assigned to that instructor locally in that city. So that's something else we will be able to do again once we're back in person. The next question is, where did I see that one? Oh yeah, so what happens when life happens? Like you can't continue with React or you can't continue with React Native, but you don't want to drop out. You just want to, take a break. For $39, we allow you to stop or pause your bootcamp and then resume it again with the next cohorts that's going to happen 5 weeks later. So just $39, you can take a 5-week break, or sometimes people ask to retake React. Like it's been 5 weeks of intense learning. They want to redo it. We allow that as well. And actually, we allow you to retake the whole bootcamp from the beginning for just $39. Not many students actually sign up for that. I mean, it's going back to a 22 weeks experience is kind of rough, but if you want to do it, we allow you to do it just for $39. And so we have those options for you all the time. You can do it a second time if needed. The fee goes to $79 the second time, stays there for the third, fourth time. Obviously, we don't encourage you to push back or pause it too often. Oftentimes, it's a sign that you're not going to complete because you have a really hard time to stay committed. But one time or twice are totally expected, and we've planned for that.
Okay. Looks like we covered quite a lot, and we're coming down to the end.
Yes.
The question from Vegeta. Yeah, Vegeta 200 on YouTube. And how throughout the week you're studying by yourself. Yes, we kind of touched on that. You will be self-paced during the week, but you have an instructor who will give you their availability schedule, and they'll be able to help you get unstuck if you get stuck on any of the material during the week. We also have a huge Slack community of alumni, other instructors, and staff who will jump in and also help you to get unstuck if you have any problems during the week.
All right. Well, we are at the end of this session. Thank you very much, everyone, for joining. Quick reminder, the early bird rate for the upcoming full stack and front-end bootcamp starting on December 7th is ending on Monday. So if you are thinking about registering, do it before Monday. We'll send you another reminder so that you can actually pay the early bird rate. It's been a pleasure. Chat with us online. You may actually have a conversation with Zandra if you go to our website and click the chat button. And we are looking forward to seeing you in our bootcamp. Take care, everyone. Thank you, Zandra.
Bye, everyone. See you, Ludo.